So this series has been recommended a lot for the past few days. Many have been telling me to sit down and watch the first episode. I was wanting to watch it to begin with. Like I said, I was going to watch it. But the amount of people that recommended me to watch this was through the roof. I have to say, I was pretty surprised just to see apparently how good this first episode was. And I just finished watching the first episode, and it was an hour long, or 47 minutes actually, because obviously the other 13 or so minutes was commercials that was cut from the episode we got to watch, but still, a 47-minute episode, pretty much 2 episodes compressed into one. It is definitely something that gives you enough to work with, enough to know if you like this series or not. See, that's the thing I like about this, is that I think everyone that watched this first episode of Astra will probably be able to know if they want to continue or not. Because you got enough information from the characters, to the world building, to just the setting in general, animation, art. I think there was just enough there for everyone to come to a conclusion if this really is the series for them. And I definitely gotta say, I like it. I definitely like this show. It was definitely something I expected to be good. Obviously, besides just the recommendations from everyone, I kind of expected it to be good, because when I was reading the, synopsis, I was like, that sounds like something I would like, and here we go. So, getting right into it, in case this is the first time you've heard about the series, and you have no idea, next to nothing, you don't know anything about this, I'm gonna let you know. So, obviously, it is space-themed. Now, let me stop you there. I know many are going to be quick to assume, oh, wait a minute, is this like a Gundam series or something, a Macross series? Is that what this is? From what I could see, no. It is not that type of series. In fact, it's more of a series to where the space theme is just used to make the theme a little bit different, but overall, it's just our characters getting lost and having to figure out a way to get back home. That's pretty much what the story is about. So, example, you have a group of 9 characters stranded in the middle of space, and they find a ship, and they have to be able to find their way back to civilization. And so they have to journey from planet to planet to be able to get back to where they came from, which is over 5,000 light years away. So it's going to take a long time to be able to do that. Most likely, with their technology, it could probably take a full-on year, real year, maybe even longer, to get back. But once again, they have to do multiple stops and find their way back properly to get there. So there is a lot of things in between. But pretty much, though, it is a series about 9 characters getting lost and them trying to figure out how to survive. So if you're one of those individuals that love survival series, like if you're into things to where characters are forced to, thrive without any help from civilization, they're forced to be able to hunt for their own food, water, etc., and explore uncharted land, then that is what this series is going to be about. It's very clear from the way the first episode shows it. Now, I am very excited, because this series has a lot of possibilities right now because of the starting episode. Like, let me explain. See, the characters, they are going on this camping trip. It was a scheduled camping trip from the school. And they were supposed to go to this uncharted planet for like a full week, and then they were going to get grabbed and then brought back. That was the plan. However, on this uncharted planet, some form of wormhole/black hole appears and sucks them into an entirely different universe, like, 5,000 light years away, and they are in the middle of space. Basically, if they weren't lucky for a spaceship being there, they would have died instantly at the beginning of this series. So there's a lot of things that's going on with this. It makes you wonder if the school forced them to do a test or not, if this is a test from the school, but at the same time, it's possible it's really not, and I'm going to get into the nitty-gritty. So basically, you have it to where, like I said, it's a camping trip. They were sent by the school. And obviously, the school, it's like an event and all that. You would think that the school is not trying to kill them, because with the spear literally taking them 5,000 light years away in the middle of space, we're not talking about transporting them to a planet. We're talking about transporting them into middle of space next to like a vessel, like a ship that has nobody on it, but it is working, but it's an old vessel. If they wouldn't have put on their spacesuit helmet, they would have died. So the point here is that there's some third party that has messed with our characters, or it is an extreme test with the school, and maybe it's some form of selection to do something. We don't really know the true reasoning behind it. Whatever the case may be, there is definitely a bigger goal here, and there's definitely someone that has caused this to happen. Because you're not going to tell me that they managed to find a black hole slash wormhole on the planet that magically transported them to, you know, this random part of space 5,000 light years away next to an old spaceship. You're not going to tell me that's just a coincidence. I mean, coincidences can happen, but it's so unlikely, especially for a written piece of literature, that I just truly doubt it. So there is definitely something going on there. We just don't really know what. For all we know, it might be one of the characters a part of the crew. Now, that is a potential possibility, because I have seen stuff like this in survival series to where you have a character it's a part of the main cast, and they are there literally to do something like a secret project or whatever, or they were tasked to do something, and then they ruin everybody's experience and get them all stranded or something. I could definitely see that being the case for this story. Maybe one of the characters are shady, and they caused it. Like the one character that has, like, you know, the headgear on, I'm assuming that he's probably someone that could have caused it, or I could be wrong. But yeah, like I said, the plot definitely has a lot of elements there where you don't really know. Like, we know what the end goal is, which is very peculiar, honestly. You would think that, like a shonen series like this, it wouldn't have something just so simple, just getting back home, but it does. But once again, when it comes to these type of series, it's all about the journey instead of the conclusion. I think that's what it really does come down to. Like, it's kind of how we feel about Hunter x Hunter or One Piece. When you think about One Piece, yes, we want to see what the One Piece is, find out what it is, but let's be honest here, we enjoy the journey to that destination. And so that's how Hunter x Hunter is as well, you know, getting to the destination at the end of the anime. So the big point here is that this series is going to obviously be about the journey, not the conclusion, because when you really think about the main character's objective, what he wants, he technically already got it at the start of this episode, which is perfect, because when you think about his, you know, entire dream, he wanted to be able to, like, find a star and a planet and all that, and technically, he is aboard a vessel that he named after a star. And you could kind of look at all the individuals that's on this vessel as, you know, like a shining star, a shining light. So you could kind of say symbolically that the character has found his goal, his dream, and now he's journeying through space like his sensei wanted. So yeah, I think that the objective has technically already been achieved, but we just gotta, you know, see the journey at this point. Now let's talk about the art and animation. So art and animation, overall, I do say it is of very high quality. At least from what I have seen from this anime season so far, it's a very high quality first episode, which it should be. As always, when a new series comes out, the pilot episode, it should have good art and animation, because it's supposed to be good for people want to continue watching. Like, when you first watch an episode, you don't want to see just garbage animation art. If it's garbage animation art, and it has bad voice acting, etc., then you might not want to continue, because that is the introduction, the first moment you get to see of the series. An introduction, it matters a lot. Introductions is the biggest thing when it comes to a series. And so, because of this first episode, I have to hand it to the art and animation. It did a very good job with giving a really nice atmosphere, even a space theme. I love the opening sequence of this episode, by the way. When you see the main female character, she's just rotating and spinning in space, and you feel the absolute fear of space. That, you know, she's alone, she's by herself, and like, if help doesn't arrive soon, she will die out there all alone. And it really just makes you remember how scary space is. Even if none of us will probably ever go to space, I think we can all agree that the just thought of literally drifting in space without no cable attached, no suit to get back, no spaceship to come grab us, it's terrifying. It's probably one of the most terrifying things, I think, that you could probably ever experience, honestly. It's truly a horrifying experience. It's probably one of my greatest fears. It's an illogical fear, because, I mean, it's probably never going to happen. I'm never going to be in that situation, but it's honestly a fear that's probably one of my greatest, because just think about it. literally drifting in space, rotating in space, because you can't really stop. Once, you know, your momentum, your velocity is done, you can't really stop yourself. That's just how space works until something hits you and knocks you a different direction. And so, if you're spinning slowly like, you know, the female character was, you're not going to stop that until you run out of air, you die, or until you hit something. So, it's scary. It is an absolutely terrifying thought. And I love how it got those emotions perfectly for space, especially seeing the situation where the main male character had to go out and save her and use the last of his fuel to grab her and then drag her back to the ship, and how everyone had to pitch a hand to be able to grab her. There was a lot of, I guess, desperation, and like I said, I love the atmosphere in that moment. It was definitely something that really got me to understand the feeling that the series is going to give me throughout the journey. Now, speaking of which, I do want to talk about how the characters, what their objective is right now. Obviously, they're on a vessel. We don't really know why it's there, but they're on a vessel that is going to be taking them to a different planet, 5 or 6 different planets, to be able to get back to where they are. And these 5 or 6 planets, obviously, even if they have the proper atmosphere and all that, there's a likely possibility some of these planets might be very dangerous. Like, we could be talking about maybe even if it has oxygen, that the environment is overall toxic to humans or allergic to them, because you gotta imagine from a standpoint going to a new environment, there can be diseases, viruses, all of that can really affect the human body. It's kind of one of the reasons of what happened in the past to ancient humans. When you have, let's say, people from coming over to America, we did a lot of damage to people that were already living here because we introduced new viruses and diseases, bacteria, and etc. that they never experienced before. Their body didn't have an immunity to it. So with them going to different planets, that's likely that could happen. Thankfully, they have a biologist with them that could kind of figure stuff out and maybe even be their ship medic. And we also have someone that's able to craft things. They kind of got everybody they really need aboard the ship to be able to make the journey. The question is, though, is any of the characters likely on the chopping block? I mean, that is something I am curious about, if anybody will die in this series or not, because they are in the middle of space and having to survive, and it would kind of rack up the tension if something like that, you know, theoretically did happen. Now, something I do want to talk about is that this series doesn't really want you to know if there's potential alien life or not. It's like, we're talking about intelligent alien life, because that is something that's kind of a mystery with this first episode. We know that humans have obviously reached the point to where they're journeying throughout the stars, and it makes you wonder if there's other intelligent life like them, and maybe that's what's messing with our characters. Maybe aliens did something. We really have no idea. So there's a lot of things that's blank with the start of this series, a lot of potential, and it's very fascinating for me as someone that really likes these type of series. So anything else really to get into? Don't think so. I think pretty much everything that needs to be covered was covered. I mean, the characters in general, they're very quirky and have their own personalities that stand out. Like the main male character, he's someone that's kind of like, he doesn't think before he acts in some ways, but he is definitely a natural-born leader. And then you have the main female character that's good with remembering names, but she's kind of like a little bit airheaded in some ways. I mean, there's some very unique characters. They stand out in their own way, and so I think it's going to be a nice mix to kind of get everybody's, like, you know, favorite. Like, everybody's going to be able to choose a favorite when the series really starts to progress. I think that's about it, though. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.